Hey everybody, Mike Miller with the Herald Times. Really happy to be joined this time here at Cameron Indoor Stadium by my pals with WIUX. Kevin Highland, Sam Rumsa. Boys, what's happening?
A rough loss and a long drive for a lot of people going all the way back to Bloomington from Durham.
Yeah.
They have a lot to think about, especially Indiana's lack of rebounding and defense tonight.
A lot of problems tonight, yeah.
Yeah, a very disappointing effort from this Indiana ball club tonight, and a lot of people are very upset with what happened tonight. You see 26 second chance points, and the rebounding effort was just atrocious from IU tonight. No rebounds for Thomas Bryant or Colin Hartman, and that's really one of the disappointing stats that we see in tonight from a 94-74 loss.
Long list of things to really touch on after this one. I will say this coming into it, it was a really, from an IU point of view, a lot of fans made the trip. I guess some were maybe East Coast based. A lot of boosters were here too, sitting right behind the bench for this one. Jim Harbaugh was here, sitting right behind Fred Glass. But I think more importantly, a lot of boosters came here and saw this performance. I don't know that it really matters, but I was wondering at one point, what's more embarrassing, the Maui performance where you totally wrecked your strength of schedule, or this when you come basically in a game that was set up over the spring to be IU's really coming out, their announcement on a national stage that they were a national player once again, to kind of come out and have this performance where you lose by 20, game that really wasn't close after maybe midway through the first half, and against the defending national champions, a team whose profile Indiana really hoped to emulate in some ways this season. Really a flat, concerning, and frankly disappointing performance.
And like you said, it was on the national stage, it was on ESPN, and both Maui games were on ESPN. So the Hoosiers not only have lost really 3 of their 5 quality games early on in the season against big players, if you want to throw Creighton into that mix, but they've done it on the national stage, and it hasn't been pretty, and it's been the same thing we see every single game. It comes down to defense, and tonight a little bit different. The perimeter defense was just atrocious. The other 2 games we've seen a lot on the interior, but Indiana, it doesn't seem like a lack of intensity or like they don't want to play defense. It just seems like strategically they just have their marbles all mixed up right now.
One of the problems, and I again, this keeps coming back to the things we saw last year, Indiana's desire and just the way they switch defense, it didn't work last year. It's not working this year. Frankly, once again, it seems guys are more confused doing the switching than they are really ready to guard. It's a serious problem. Tom Crean deflects this criticism pretty regularly, but frankly, it's not getting any better. Just a pitiful defensive performance against this team. Granted, these are the defending national champions. A lot of length, a lot of skill, a lot of athletes on the floor. More athletes than Indiana's seen all year. Probably the most athletes at one time Indiana's going to see all year. But still, I mean, to have that much trouble, to be that embarrassed in that way, to be forced to overhelp so often, to be caught off guard, to be caught just confused as often as Indiana was, it really was a throwback to last season and some of the concerns that have carried over.
Yeah, an extremely talented Duke team that came in tonight, but still an embarrassing effort from Indiana on the defensive side. You mentioned it. Just so many different stats that you can throw out there, but to me it comes back to the second chance points again, where Indiana was just not getting in good position at all, and the switches once they went to the zone, there was just no positioning there at all. So Duke was able to crash the boards. They out-rebounded Indiana by 13. And one of the big things that people were talking about coming into this game was turnovers. Well, Indiana only turned the ball over 9 times tonight. That was actually something that was actually a positive.
They shot 50%.
And they shot well. They shot the ball well, but they just weren't able to get those shots. Duke shot 17 more times than Indiana tonight.
Yeah, I mean, when you have those numbers, when you come into Cameron Indoor Stadium, you turn the ball over 9 times, you shoot 50%, you should be a lot closer than 20 dang points.
You'd expect it, but
that's the thing. When you come into Cameron, there are a few things you need to play well. First of all, to compete. Second of all, to possibly win at Cameron. You need to play defense, and you got to have toughness. IU has neither of those attributes right now, especially the toughness. I mean, this is just a team that's gotten beaten up. It looks confused at times. This looks far from the team that I think a lot of us thought we were going to see coming into this season.
Yeah, and it doesn't help at all that Brandon Ingram kind of had the game where he gets it all together. He gets his potential. Looking down the stat sheet, 10 of 14, 4 of 6. Him and Matt Jones combined, 8 of 15 from the three-point line. We're leaving guys like that, 6'6" and 6'9", respectively, open from the college three-point line. These guys are going to be hitting it down in the NBA regularly in a year or two. So to give them that shot is basically like giving them an elbow jumper just wide open. It was there all night for those 2 guys.
And you also don't know where Indiana goes next from here, because Morehead State comes in, and then IPFW, and then I'm blanking on the next one. But just 3 more cupcakes for IU until you test Notre Dame. So you don't really know where you're going to see that growth, because it's going to be a tough road ahead for Indiana if these defensive issues don't fix themselves quickly.
Yeah, and it's I don't know that it really is a quick fix. I'm not sure that it's even a fix that can really be fixed with this current group, coaching and otherwise. Honestly, there's a lot of troubling developments with this game. Man, I don't. We touched on the rebounds there with the Bryant, Williams, and Hartman. Yeah, I mean.
Well, and you hate to say it, you hate to look back and you hate to say, well, if those guys were on this team. If you look at all the guys that have come through this program in the past few years who are no longer on the team and what those guys could do on the glass, you look at a guy like Emmett Holt, you look at a guy like Devin Davis, even a guy like Luke Fisher, all those guys can rebound the ball very capably, give you tough interior presence. And because of a number of circumstances, those guys are no longer on the team, but you can't help but think about what Indiana would be able to do with those guys in the lineup.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Weird moment, actually, at halftime, right around here. We're sitting at half court right now at Cameron. We went back and looked at the replay, and it looked like it was Colin Hartman who bumped into Mike Krzyzewski as both teams were leaving to go in their separate locker room areas. I've also seen folks say it was Max Bielfeld. They were both guys were around the area at the time. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but there was a weird interaction there between Crean and Krzyzewski, where Krzyzewski basically got up to Crean and said, "Hey, blah 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 blah." It's, after the game, Krzyzewski was saying, "Hey, where I'm from, when a guy gets hit, someone apologizes," which was, I don't know. But that was just to explain that weird moment. A lot of weird moments overall at the home of the Cameron Crazies tonight. A rather forgettable night for IU.
Yeah, how was it for you, Mike? Because you were right there. We were up in the Crow's Next broadcast for WIX, but you were right there. Did you have anything that's safe for the Scoop Talk to mention that you had the guys behind you?
They were actually pretty clean. I think they handed out the chant charts where they have every player. They do a lot of research on every player, and they kind of come up with stuff they can heckle about during the game. I think there were a couple instances where they brought up some of the off the court stuff with Yogi and Troy. Otherwise, it was pretty. I was actually sitting in front of a girl from Bloomington South graduate. So I was in friendly quarters, I guess you could say, as far as the Cameron Crazies. But yeah, on the court though, a lot went wrong. A lot, I'm not sure. Again, that is a quick fix. I'm not sure it's even an easy fix to any degree. I don't know, guys. I usually throw this to Jeremy Price at this point. Where does IU go from here? As we mentioned, they're back home Saturday night against Morehead State. Another game where, I don't know how much you really take from that, but something's got to give here at some point.
Yeah, they really have 3 games to right the ship defensively. But I think the thing, just after 8 games, all of us thought going into the season that this was going to be a completely different team. You thought with the All-American talent of Bryant, you thought his defensive prowess, Max Bielfeld being a tough guy, being the 6th man of the year last year at Michigan, having some Big Ten experience, that this front line was really going to be a different story. For the majority of this 8-game season, this is the same team as last year. Its strengths are a little bit stronger, but its weaknesses are the exact same.
That's well put.
Yeah, I don't really have any answers because Indiana just has to fix these defensive switches and things like that. They've got almost too much to fix. It seems like Thomas Bryant is still a freshman. He's got a lot of talent, but he's still a freshman. And behind that, you don't know where you go exactly. So IU's got a lot to work on in these next few games if they want to compete in the Big Ten, which I don't know if they're going to be able to do right now. I don't think they will if they keep playing like they have been.
And one thing we were saying earlier is if any of us could figure out Indiana's defense, we'd be sitting right there on the bench next to Tom Crean because it's just puzzling right at this point.
Tom Crean said, I think, maybe 4 or 5 times in his post-game remarks that, hey, it's only December 3rd. There's a long time to go. A lot of basketball to be played. A lot of practice time to get in the gym and fix it. But frankly, they had a lot of practice time last year. They had a lot of practice time in the spring and summer and leading up to this point. And frankly, I think it might be even a little bit worse, that their weaknesses might be just a little bit more concerning at this point when you look at the athleticism they have in that backcourt. Now you have guys that are essentially sophomores, juniors, seniors, very experienced guys who've been through it, and I just don't see the development at this point. So, yes, there's a lot of time to kind of turn this around, but whether they can do that, it's fair to question a lot of things right now. But boys, let's go home. Let's go home.
Let's get home.
This place is really hot. I just want to go home, take a shower. Am I covered in blue? I've got like blue specks on my body right now from the Crazies.
I have the glitter a little bit during the game.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was.
Guys, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Later.